Yesterday, there was a COVID case in Sriracha. It spread to them from those that were in the beer garden episode. If we are moral and wholesome people of this world, then we won't be a factor in the spread of the pandemic. It is those that are mischievous or partiers that are the problem that keeps the spread going. It's not that all those who've caught COVID are partiers or unwholesome, but they're casualties of that type of behavior. They have the karma where they have to be near such people. So let's try to be mindful. The virus won't completely disappear from the earth. That's impossible. It'll be like the avian flu. Most people will become immune. Or like the flu that comes each year. It isn't too scary. We can handle it. COVID comes and then will fade. But these defilements of ours come each day and never cease. Keep practicing Dhamma and be patient. People of our generation are not overly meritorious. If we were, we wouldn't be born in this era. It's almost 2,600 years since the Buddha's enlightenment. If we haven't accumulated sufficient merit to enlighten by now, many who have learned with the Buddha have enlightened before us. So the fact that we're still here studying this work means our merit isn't sufficient yet. But let's not be discouraged. Let's keep at it. Have patience. Keep learning and practicing. There isn't much to the practice. Keep the 5 precepts. Practice awareness. Don't let the mind get lost all day in this and that issue. Once we are aware, we'll be able to see the truth of the body and mind. When we see the truth of the body and mind, we'll become dispassionate and release attachment and let go. The mind will be liberated and will no longer be grasping and clinging. Whatever the mind attaches to, it suffers because of it. If we are attached to the body, then we suffer because of the body. This body has nothing but change. There is aging, illness, and death. It's cold, it's hot, it's hungry, and then thirsty. It needs to defecate, then it needs to urinate. The body is nothing so lovely, and it certainly isn't special. It is suffering itself. Breathing out is suffering. Breathing in is suffering. Standing, walking, sitting, lying down, all are suffering. It's all suffering. We try to avoid and escape the suffering one interval after another. If we sit for a while, we get achy and experience pain. So then we move and change our posture. We'll stand up and walk. If we stand for too long, or walk for long, then we suffer again, and we have to sit down again, and we sit for too long, and we get achy. When there's pain, we suffer again, so we lay down. When we lay down, we turn this away and that way, because it's painful and suffering. Watch and know this body of ours regularly. You'll see there's suffering in all positions. It isn't anything good, special, lovely, or anything to be so protective of. Some people are obsessed with form. Young men and women feel like they are beautiful. And then after some time, they lose that beauty. I've seen photos of celebrities. When I was younger, so were they. Some were so beautiful. But taking a look at some of their pictures these days, it's hard to look at them. They're ragged, old, and weathered. There's no escaping this. Some people say that when they're older, they won't let themselves fall apart and they'll just be as beautiful as they are now. That's not possible. Even when a beautiful young body dies, just after a few hours, all the beauty is gone. People want to be with these beautiful bodies when they're alive, but the moment they die, no one wants them anymore. They become disgusting immediately. When it's still breathing, it's something that's admired. That's all there is to it. Once the breathing stops, it's lost its worth. People are afraid. People rush to put it in a coffin. They don't want to see it anymore. Perhaps they'll cremate it. They don't want to look at it. They don't want to see it. It is no longer eye candy. It's only pretty if it breathes. Let's have mindfulness, and we'll learn that the body is not a good or special thing. It isn't a truly beautiful thing. And we'll see it and get bored and sick of these things. Some of us that are older will sense that we aren't the same as we used to be. In the past, we could eat and sleep just fine, and as we get older, eating becomes more difficult, and so does sleeping. In the past, we could pursue happiness in all kinds of forms, wanting all kinds of things. Then as we get old, if we can just finish our meal comfortably and defecate comfortably, or have a proper sleep, we're happy and satisfied with just that. Our desires shrink down to just that. Listening to elderly people speak with each other, they talk about how eating and such things are difficult. I was young when I first studied with Long Pudun. Everything tasted good to me at that time. He told me when he was a young monk and walking through the forest, he would be famished at times, but there was nothing to eat. He'd be craving and have to go without. As an older monk, people gave him all kinds of food, of many varieties. But now that he has so much food, he doesn't have the energy to eat it. He never saw food as anything that brings happiness. When we're still young, we don't get to enjoy everything that we want. And when we're older and can afford what we want, we have problems consuming it. There are drawbacks to everything in life. Nothing is complete or fulfilling. Have mindfulness seeing the body, and we'll see that the body is tiring. It's nothing good or special like we thought it was. When the mind truly grows bored of it, we'll want to release from it. Wanting to release but unable to, because there is still a body here. If we commit suicide, will that be the end of the body? It is not. When killing oneself The body definitely passes away, but the mind is then born into a new realm of existence. At the moment of death, once the mind drops away, it will lead to the arising of the birth of the mind in a new realm, a moment after. When the body dies, the mind falls away, but there is still energy there that brings about the next mind arising in a new realm. Just that one mental moment that arises creates a whole new body. So, if we find the body tiresome and want to commit suicide, it's not an effective way, because a new body will arise and will suffer once again. The Buddha taught us to practice Dhamma by seeing the truth of the body and the mind. The body is not something beautiful or special. It's impermanent. It's under oppression all the time. The body of a human being is just elements. The earth element, wind element, and fire element. The earth element is comprised of hair, body hair, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, tendons, bones, and such things. And liquids like blood, mucus, pus, and saliva. The wind element is the in-breath and the out-breath, the air in our stomach and intestines, moving around all the time. There's clean air outside of us, and as it makes its way through us, it turns gross and chases people away. Whenever anything is ingested by the human body and it comes out, it's no longer attractive. How does the air smell when it comes out of our digestive tract? No one thinks that it smells good. We can choose the most wonderful foods, the most expensive and extravagant meals. We can ingest them, but then when we excrete them, it doesn't matter what we ate, it's disgusting. Anything that passes through this body comes out dirty. The body is an accumulation or like a factory that produces foul things for the world. So, if we have mindfulness and wisdom with regards to the body, we'll see that the body is not a good thing, it's an ugly thing. When I was young, I used to think that if I died, I'd want to be cremated immediately because the body gets foul and disgusting, and I was ashamed of that. I wouldn't want my disgusting remains to be out there for people to see. Once the breathing stops, we no longer want the things that we used to love so much, and we look for a way to dispose of them. If it's a dog or a cat, then we hurry to bury it. If it's a person, then we may put it in a coffin or bring it to a temple. We don't want it in our home. We also want the spirit to go somewhere that is happy and not come back to bother us. We say, go somewhere wonderful and beautiful and be happy and free. So that's the truth of the world. Love and attachment are not lasting things. We all just love ourselves. Whatever is a burden, stale, or is no good anymore, we have no desire for it. So once we see the truth of the body and we contemplate it often, the mind will get sick of the body. Suicide doesn't escape the problem. So what do we do to no longer suffer because of the body? We learn the truth of the body. The truth of the body is that it's impermanent, unsatisfactory, and non-self. We keep observing until the mind becomes equanimous to the body. At this point, the mind can be with the body. Whether the body gets old, ill, or dies, if it's in pain or covered in a rash or rots, how foul the smell, the mind just resides there, It just knows and sees that it is equanimous. The mind doesn't suffer. But the method of saying the body is no good and killing oneself, the mind suffers tremendously. But if one is about to kill themselves, the mind is filled with aversion. The passing is riddled with aversion. So there will be no freedom on the other side. There will be rebirth that was influenced by the aversion. There was a person who was laying in a bed and practicing Dhamma. He had very sharp eyes and ears. One evening, he saw a woman walking by his house, but her feet weren't touching the ground. She was floating just slightly above the ground and crying. In the morning, the neighbors informed that there was a lady who hung herself in the neighborhood. She was suffering tremendously. She had bought a new home against her husband's wishes, but she wouldn't listen to him. She wanted it desperately, regardless of her inability to pay for the house. The bank foreclosed it, and her husband was angry and left her. Then, when she was alone, she didn't know how to live anymore. If her house was gone, everything was gone, including her husband. So she tried to solve the problem by killing herself. She was immediately reborn, still walking around and crying. She didn't look back at the house that she had lived in. It was like she had no more interest and could keep walking and crying to no end for who knows how many hundreds of years. The karmic results of suicide are powerful. As human beings, when we have difficult times, how many years does that last? Not usually that long. When I was a child, I noticed something. I didn't experience difficulties for any more than 3 days at a time. That's how my heart felt. That's what I saw. No more than 3 days. Like in school when there was a mandatory military training. The first day was really tough. It was tough for 3 days, but by day 4, my mind was okay with it, accepting that's how it had to be. There was no more resistance. I knew that's what had to happen. That's what I had to eat, and that's how I had to sleep. 1 shower a day, no more than 10 bowls of water. It was tough. The food was terrible. Then while eating it, the sergeant would tease us. Stop eating. Continue eating. Stop again. Teasing us. I had anger and felt it was so difficult. During the day, there would be intense training and the feeling of difficulty lasted 3 days. I could adapt by day 4. The first time I ordained as a monk, I was in school. It was hard for 3 days. After that, I was able to accept the way it was and the struggle with it faded. I just knew it had to be this way. I learned that in a difficult situation, when we struggle with it, the mind isn't even keeled. If our mind is equanimous, we'll see that it's just an ordinary thing happening. It's just what it is. Equanimity allows us to be with these suffering things, with a mind that doesn't suffer along with it. The body is suffering. It's a mass of suffering. But we can be with it and not suffer because of it. If we practice correctly and understand the principles the Buddha taught, see the truth of it regularly, and don't just observe the body, but see that the body is impermanent, and it's natural for it to be oppressed by the suffering. The body is just a physical thing, with elements moving in and out. When the elements move in, the body looks decent, and when they exit, it's hard to look at us. Even the breath. When we breathe somewhere where there is fresh air and lots of oxygen, like my temple here, there are lots of trees, provided no forest fire smoke is making its way in or the smell of chicken feces from nearby factories. The air is beautiful in this temple. There's lots of oxygen and fragrances coming from all the flowers. The smells are lovely all day and all night. Breathing in is fresh, but the out-breath smells bad. Good things come into the body, and a moment later they're rendered bad. Will anyone let us breathe out in their face for them to smell? We'll end up in a fight. Come over here and smell my out-breath. There won't be any takers. Anything in the body that comes out or gets exhaled is gross. It's not loved or held dear. The body is impermanent, suffering. Standing is suffering. Sitting, walking, laying down, all are suffering. Eating without mindfulness, we think the food is a happy thing. Shoving things in our mouth, chewing and swallowing. Without chewing the food sufficiently, then shoving more in. Oh, what a pleasure! Once we have mindfulness, we'll see that even eating is a burden. For the monks, the burden starts with the alms walk for food. Any day we don't receive food, we experience difficulties. Even when we get some, we have to sit and eat according to the rules. Chewing is just work. It's work that we must do. Then needing to urinate and defecate are necessities permeating with laboriousness. Those with constipation and added difficulty resulting in distress. Some defecate so frequently they're walking away from the restroom and have to return. Another type of difficulty. In this body, there's nothing but suffering. We want to escape it, but we can't. Many Thai people would like to escape difficulties in Thailand and move to places like Dubai, but then experience suffering there. I'm not talking about politics. Wherever we escape to, we'll experience suffering there too. We bring this suffering body with us wherever we go. If we have mindfulness and wisdom, we'll see that this body is suffering itself. Let's not suffer along with it. Peer in and see that the body just suffers like this. It's ordinary for it to be this way. Once we see how ordinary it is, the mind accepts the truth and doesn't suffer along with it anymore. Like the example I mentioned a moment ago, when I was in military training, it was so hot out. Of course, they don't let us train in the cool season. It was hot as heck in Kanchanaburi. At the time, I told myself, I'm never going to live in this province. Then, my karma was such that upon my ordination, I came to live in Kanchanaburi. When it's scorching hot, it's painful and everything is difficult. Eventually, the mind could accept it. It's just the way it is. It's natural. Once we can sense that this is just ordinary the way it is, the body is still suffering. It's still hungry, cold, hot, in pain. It gets ill just the same. But the heart that senses that this is just ordinary for the body, par for the course, the mind doesn't get pulled along for the ride. We keep learning until the mind accepts what is ordinary. Once the heart accepts what is ordinary, then it no longer struggles with it. When there's no more wavering and struggling, then there's no more suffering. And that's all there is to it. That's the way to liberate from suffering. Suicide does not do it. A new body will be born, and when it becomes a body of a hell being, an earthbound spirit, the lifespan of it exceeds a human, and it is also much worse than a human form. While enduring it, it is inescapable. So keep observing until you see the ordinariness of things and the ordinary truth of the body, that it must get old, ill, and die. It's not a beautiful thing, nothing to be enamored by. That's its nature. Come back to see this body and mind. When we wake up in the morning, our mind starts thinking, wanting to move and shift around, looking for what's going to be happy. What should I have to eat this morning? Those that have money will wake up and think, what should I eat? Those that don't have money will wake up and think, am I going to have anything to eat today? They differ. Those that wake up and wonder if they will have food, that's a type of suffering. Another is laying in bed. What should I eat today? Bored of everything. I've eaten this already and that already. I'm bored of my food. Our monks here have grown tired of our afternoon drinks. Our temple doesn't offer anything special in the afternoon. Just sweet drinks. At the beginning, it's fun and yummy to choose your drink. After a week or so, it's disappointing. The monks that have been here a long time don't even bother with the afternoon drink so much. Just seeing them makes them nauseous. Same thing every day. It's overkill. The drinks here are there for the taking. But they're so bored of them, having them every day. Is boredom suffering? Yes, it is. The mind isn't equanimous. So let's keep training our mind. The mind is reverently pursuing happiness from the moment we wake. And even at bedtime, we're still looking for happiness. Which position is the most comfy? Some people have trouble breathing laying on their backs, so they switch to their side. But the side causes aches and pains, and the struggle continues. When truly mindful and wise, we'll see that even laying down is suffering. Pursuing happiness through sleeping is futile because it doesn't exist. Sleeping is like eating. We eat to relieve suffering, and we do the same thing when we sleep, not to create happiness because there isn't any happiness there. Keep observing and we'll see we're hungry for happiness, solely for this mind of ours. We want to achieve meditative states for happiness, but as long as there's wanting, the suffering is already there. Wanting a peaceful mind. The wanting is already suffering. Whenever there's wanting, there's suffering. And then we push and prod and struggle to enhance our mental state to a good, happy, or peaceful one. Like trying to achieve jhana. The mind is good, happy, and peaceful in jhana, but only while in jhana. When existing jhana, these states deteriorate, slowly, gradually, little by little, and then disappearing. Then our hearts want to be happy again, or at peace again, and the mind starts to struggle and suffers again. So this mind of ours needs training. And we'll see that the mind needing to see forms is a burden. Or listening to sounds is a burden. To smell scents, or to taste flavors, or to feel at the body are all burdens. All varieties of thought that the mind must endure are burdens. It's easy to see that the thinking mind is a burden actually, when you're trying to think of something and can't figure it out or remember it. In an exam, when we can't think of the answer, we keep thinking and it's stressful. The mind that must think is the most stressed and a strained one. But the mind that floats off into daydreams and is entertained by them, that is a more subtle type of happiness. That's harder to see. When there is suffering in our hearts, we feel that it's uncomfortable. It's obviously suffering. When there's a happy feeling in the heart, those that don't have mindfulness or wisdom will think that is truly happy. But if we practice Dhamma, we'll know that the happiness that occurs is a burden to the heart. When we're sitting in meditation, at first, the mind might enter a deep state and become bright. Our mind is concentrated on the light. There is initial attention on the bright light and sustained attention on the bright light. There's joy and happiness arising. We'll feel that, oh, this is truly happy. But if we keep meditating, we'll start to see that the mind that needs to continue keeping attention on the bright light is also a burden. The mind will release that burden and dispose of the light, which was the meditation object, and will come back to the mind itself. The mind will become the knower with joy and happiness, oneness of mind. As we keep practicing, we get even wiser and see that the joy is disturbing the mind. It's overly unsettled and loses its luster. It reveals itself as suffering. We gradually start seeing that the mental states that we had previously seen as good states end up not so. Eventually, they reveal their suffering nature. If we have mindfulness, we'll see joy and rapture are a burden, causing the body to be jittery and unstable. Goosebumps, or our hair standing on end, or our body feeling like a weight or seeming extremely large. Rapture, piti, comes in many different forms. In the text, there are 5 categories of rapture, but in our actual experience, there are even more. Goosebumps. The body floating or levitating, the body feeling completely light, the body wobbling or oscillating, all kinds of physical symptoms. When we first encounter piti, we think that it's a great thing and cool. Wow, my body is bigger than a mountain and heavy as one too. We have lots of strange experiences. But as we get wiser, we see that the rapture is a burden to the mind and is no longer seen as something special. It's bothersome to the mind. The mind releases rapture and comes to just happiness. The happiness was there from the beginning, from the first jhana. But it wasn't prominent or seen because there were other factors there that were more prominent. In the first jhana, we see the bright light. In the second jhana, we are enthralled by the rapture. There was happiness there, but we didn't see it. The rapture is put down. We can no longer stand that type of turbulent happiness. The mind arrives at a more sublime happiness. Most people get stuck here. But when mindfulness and wisdom are strong enough, even that happiness can be seen as something that can't be relied upon. It can't persist. Once the meditation ends, that happiness fades. Sometimes we can enter a meditation even deeper than the one that happiness disappears, and what replaces it is equanimity. The happiness is seen as something that doesn't last. If we take something that doesn't last to be what we rely on, then we'll never find any real happiness. Whenever we're still taking things that cannot last to be our refuge or what we rely on, then we'll never be fulfilled. So the mind lets go of happiness because it sees it as a burden. Most of us cannot enter jhana, but we have mindfulness that keeps knowing frequently. The mind is happy, we know so. The mind is suffering, we know so. The mind is neither happy nor suffering, we know so. When we keep knowing over and over again, one day the mind will see on its own. Most of my students that practice seeing the feelings in the mind have experienced the truth that happiness is actually a type of suffering. It isn't anything special. It's something that perturbs the mind just the same. It's a burden of the mind. It isn't anything that we can truly rely on because it's suffering. Seeing that the mind will release happiness and enter equanimity. Once the mind is equanimous and stable towards happiness and suffering, and all formations. Our duty is to incline this mind towards seeing the truth of physical and mental phenomena, bringing a stable and impartial mind to see the truth of form and mind. In the Tipitaka, it says, once the mind is appropriate for the work, with the mind refined and light and gentle and nimble and appropriate for work, incline it to see the truth, which means seeing with wisdom, not just seeing foolishly, but seeing with wisdom, seeing the truth of the things we are observing. When observing the body with a stable mind, with oneness within itself, like the mind that was in jhana, and then we observe the body, anything at all, and we will see that they all demonstrate the three characteristics. But if we can't achieve jhana, no need to be alarmed. Practice samadhi in the way that I teach just about every day. The mind moves, and we know so. It moves, and we know so. See that often, and we will achieve momentary samadhi. The mind will be stable for short periods. Once the mind is stable often, then we will incline the mind to see the truth at time. When the mind is the stable knower, it will have peaceful, stable, and equanimous characteristics. The impartiality and stability are significant. That is the knower mind, which comes from momentary concentration. The mind moving and knowing so, or if we enter jhana to the second level or higher. When we withdraw from jhana, the knower mind will be bold and present and will sustain for a long time, up to 7 days before it fades. There isn't anything that arises that doesn't fade. Even the powerful samadhi from jhana still fades away. It just fades away more slowly than momentary concentration. We have to practice the momentary type every day and frequently. The mind moves and we know so again and again. We repeat Putto, Putto, and the mind moves to Putto, Putto. We become aware that we got lost. Once we know that, the mind becomes stable. Then, with the stable mind, we repeat Putto again, and the mind runs away again. It runs and we know. It runs and we know again and again. Eventually, a truly stable mind will emerge. When that happens, we keep learning this body and this mind. When we study the body, we will learn that it's not a beautiful thing. It's impermanent, suffering, and not a self. The mind will be impartial to that. It won't hate it. Once we see with a stable and impartial mind, all the mental formations, happiness, unhappiness, and all the unwholesome and wholesome states, they will all arise and fall away. They're all unsatisfactory states. They're all a burden. The mind will not move or waver in the face of that. It will remain impartial. So when we know the body, we know with an impartial mind. And when we know the mind, we know with an impartial mind. Knowing in this way, the mind won't struggle anymore. It will accept the truth after seeing the truth over and over again. If we see the truth repeatedly, eventually the mind accepts it and will enter a true state of equanimity from seeing the truth of all formations, mental, physical, genuinely. Just seeing things as they are, the mind no longer moves in the face of it. There's a discourse of the Buddha. I can't remember its name anymore, about a monk named Baya. Before his ordination, he was staying at the monastery wearing white. He was originally a merchant, selling from his boat. Well, his boat sunk, and so did his clothes along with it. The Indian garb at the time were large robes, right? When falling in the water, we have to remove them or else they'll get tangled around our feet and will sink. So without clothes, he grabbed onto a log and eventually washed up on a city shore or some island or pier, I can't quite remember. The inhabitants saw him passed out without clothes and concluded, "Wow, an Arahan washed up on our shores." They were excited to see an Arahan. He must be an Arahan because he has no attachment. He doesn't even wear robes. No attachment. We must be greedy monks here. We have 3 pieces of cloth that we wear, and he has none. So the villagers considered him to be an Arahan. Anybody that appeared was an Arahan. But this guy started to believe it. Public opinion seems to be that I'm an Arahan, so I guess I am. Meanwhile, there was a Brahma deity who was a fellow practitioner with this man in a previous Buddhist era. He was a Suddhavasa deity and was attained as a non-returner. This deity came down and warned his old friend that he was not an Arahan. However, there is an Arahan available, the Buddha. And you should go and see him. He told them where to go and see him. Once Baya heard that he wasn't an Arahan, it did not upset him. Some people think they've achieved stream entry, and once they realize they haven't, they become very disappointed and some even stop practicing. I've seen it. But Baya wasn't upset to hear this, and he quickly sought the Buddha's advice. He walked day and night to reach him. He hurried because he wasn't careless. He believed and sensed that we could die at any such time. Such was his merit and wisdom. He had accumulated a tremendous amount of merit for his mindset and opportunity. Knowing that he could die at any time, he didn't waste any time at all and got to the Buddha as quickly as he could, at least to meet him once. When he arrived at the monastery, he was told to sit and wait because the Buddha had gone for his alms walk. He refused to wait and thought, what if I die here waiting? Or what if the Buddha attains final nirvana on his walk from some encounter? So it's reckless to sit and wait. So he went to the market where the Buddha was receiving alms. Upon finding him, he requested Dhamma teachings. The Buddha observed that Baya was exhausted from his journey and his heart was overly vehement about receiving Dhamma. The Buddha thus delayed and told him, it's not time now for Dhamma, it's time for the alms walk. Baya then asked him a second time and then a third time. At his second attempt, his heart was deflated and he felt that the Buddha was not going to teach him. The third time he pleaded, the fiery desire to receive teachings had faded. The body that was exhausted had rested slightly, and he was feeling more alive. The Buddha saw that he was ready for Dhamma. The Buddha taught, Baya, you should train yourself thus. In reference to the seen, there will only be the seen. In reference to the heard, only the heard. In reference to the sensed, only the sensed. In reference to the cognized, only the cognized. Then, Baya, there is no you in connection with that. When there is no you there, you're neither here nor yonder, nor stuck in the present. Just this is the end of suffering. Baya heard only this teaching and then attained arhanship and became known as the quickest attainer. Just one small sentence. When seeing, there's just seeing. When hearing, there's just hearing. When cognizing, there's merely cognizing. When seeing, there's just seeing. That means the mind doesn't get lost in pleasure or displeasure regarding what it's seeing. The mind is equanimous to the seeing, hearing, and knowing different mental objects. When anything happens, there's just knowing, that's all. Knowing impartially. When the mind is impartial, it isn't fabricating and formulating anything, and there is no person because the truth is there is no us, and there never was. It's merely a fabrication. Baya, hearing this, saw clearly in an instant that there was no self and became an Arahan right in that moment and asked to ordain and be with the Buddha. The Buddha said, according to our rules, you must have a robe and a bowl. So he went to seek these things because he arrived at the Buddha completely bare with nothing at all. While he was searching to find a bowl and a robe, karma hit him bad. A mad cow attacked and killed him. He died prior to ordination. The monk community knew of this. The Buddha requested that his remains are cremated and a stupa are built for him. The monks asked, do we call him a layman? Or what was his state? The Buddha replied, he is a true monk although never ordained, their companion in the holy life. One can be a true monk even if there's no ordination. It comes down to the heart, if the defilements have been washed away and if it's sufficiently pure. Keep practicing. At first there won't be just seeing and just hearing. Seeing this, hearing that, touching this, thinking that. The mind will be liking at times and disliking at others. But we keep practicing mindfulness until eventually we see that there isn't anything that makes any sense or is substantial. No physical forms are substantial, and neither are any mental forms. When that is our experience, then when seeing, we will just see. You don't have the merit of Bhaya. So we have to practice where we're at first. And eventually, seeing, we will just see. And we'll see that there is no us. Bhaya's quality of mind and merit were so great from a past accumulation since a previous Buddha's time. He practiced until he died. All he needed was the shortest teaching from the Buddha, and he saw the truth that there was no him and he no longer attached to anything. His mind liberated from suffering. Before we are able to seeing just see, we have to train our minds. We have to keep knowing, keep seeing, and the mind will be pleased with this, displeased with that. Let's not stop that. When the mind is pleased, know so. When the mind is displeased, know so. Eventually, wisdom will know that all things that the mind sees and knows are insubstantial. Physical things are insubstantial. Mental things are insubstantial. There's nothing that can be relied upon. We thought jhana would be something where happiness and peace are reliable, but they're not permanent. The jhanas deteriorate. The mind then senses these things just don't suffice, and the mind becomes impartial to these things. At first, they're hated. We keep training and we see that they're inescapable. Then the mind becomes impartial and equanimous. This is the path that we'll have to encounter. All practitioners encounter it. Just keep training, and then once our spiritual faculties are strong, we'll achieve equanimity. We'll be able to seeing just see, as Bhaya did. If our faculties aren't strong enough, we can still become a stream enterer or a once returner, maybe even a non-returner, gradually, step by step. So keep training each day and don't neglect the practice. Don't just be lost in forms. Usually, we're lost in the forms of others. Some people are lost in their own form, looking at themselves in the mirror all day, fixing this, adjusting this, adding a little bit of that. Some put on makeup. Some even get plastic surgery. I saw in the news a lady who went crazy. She got so many injections in her face that eventually she was so inflated and ugly. Then she needed a doctor to take it all out. The face that was once pretty became ugly. No one could look her way. So lost in form, wanting our form to be pretty forever. Eventually, it won't cooperate. It isn't magical. The mind shifts and struggles to try to find happiness, but happiness isn't anything so magical either. Keep learning until there's equanimity. Then there will be no more attachment. Without attachment, there is no suffering. That is all. Keep training. 45 minutes already. Make sure to have mindfulness and take care of yourselves. Stay free of the virus.